7:48, time for the papers now with political consultant Emma Burnell and podcaster Lewis Oakley. Morning, both. Lewis, Apple is getting sued again. What for this time?
Yeah, again, well, it's having a monopoly on basically all the tech, and the accusation is really that they're stifling rival apps and rival games, and that it's really hard to migrate over. So you couldn't just have an iPhone and then go to an Android device because you would lose all your data, all of your settings. And, I mean, it's true. I mean, I have all Apple devices, and to try and move over when you're ever annoyed at Apple, like, right, that's it, it's like you're in too deep because everything's synced together. Yeah. And so that's what they're looking at.
But isn't that just good business practice for them? I mean, you know, they've got a very good business model.
It's good business, but I think the allegation here is about, are you stifling innovation and creativity? Could we actually have better phones than we have now if you weren't doing this? Are there some upstart apps and things that we could have that would make our lives better that aren't seeing the light of day because of Apple's monopoly?
Yeah.
And just a side point on this, I couldn't believe this. Apple's net income in 2023 was $97 billion, which is more than the GDP of 100 countries. So they don't need any more money.
And this is the thing, you're right, it's good business for that business, but it's not good for consumers and it's not good for other businesses. And there's a difference, and this is where government regulation is always trying to find the balance. There's a difference between that business being successful and there being a successful market. And those two things are very different things.
Isn't it good for Android? Because that if Apple aren't doing certain things and following certain trends and techs and all the rest of it, well, Android will do it, and of course Android runs on a whole variety of
Android. I mean, Android is much more universal. Apple got in a lot of trouble with things like having the Lightning charger, where you can only use a certain type of charger and things like that. But I mean, Lewis and I are both people with Apple devices, and once your brain has been trained to use Apple, it's really hard to go back.
Well, I think that's what would it take for me to switch? Because as you say, Stephen, if suddenly the Android devices can do really cool things, it's still the cost of switching over. It's not just a phone. It's then, OK, well, my phone now doesn't connect with my iPad or my other devices, my iMac.
Oh, yeah.
You're in too deep.
And all the data you've got stored on those apps.
So you could have one like this. Oh. You can't get an iPhone that does that, can you?
For those listening on the radio...
I'm folding it in half.
Yes, very clever.
Whoa.
Very clever.
Very lovely. This is my new toy, by the way.
Love that.
You're very into your toys at the moment, I was hearing.
I am. This is one I could afford. There you go. All right, Emma, Telegraph, council tax. Oh, heck. People could be paying £5,000 in council tax. So,
basically, councils have no money and an awful lot of costs. And there are two ways that councils are funded. Partly, and not even in the majority, through council tax, and partly through central government funding. And about 10 years ago, the government cut council funding by somewhere between 40 and 50%. But at the same time, council costs, because they have statutory duties. There are certain things councils have to provide us with. And one of those is adult social care. And as we were discussing in the last hour, people are living longer, but they're not necessarily living healthily longer. So the cost of adult social care has gone through the roof. There was a thing doing the rounds over 10 years ago called the Barnett Graph of Doom, where it showed what Barnett's income was and what its costs were, and they diverged so sharply. And that divergence was by 2020, so you can imagine it's only got worse, particularly with everything costing more because interest rates have gone up, inflation's gone up.
They need to stop wasting money on sculptures.
But this isn't, honestly,
twinning towns.
The amount of money that councils spend on that, it's a drop in the ocean. What we're talking about is statutory services, adult social care, you know, the things that councils absolutely, they are cut to the bone. And there, as I say, either we fund that individually through council tax or we fund it through central government funding.
So at the moment we're going to fund it.
So at the moment, the Conservatives were really open about this. Eric Pickles, when he was in charge of this, said we're going to devolve the axe. We're going to devolve blame to councils.
I think that's the interesting thing, isn't it? You look at these stories and you think, oh, it's going up because they want to do statues or rainbow zebra crossings, but it's not. And there's a reason they're all going bust. And I don't really know what the answer is because my council tax bill, I got an email yesterday, your council tax bill is ready to view. I just thought, I can't look at this yet.
Yeah.
I mean, this is it. It is very, very hard.
But wouldn't Labour support a lot of this? I mean, the first £5,000 council tax bills are going out. That's in Band H homes, which are big houses, right? So it's the people with the biggest houses paying the most money.
It is and it isn't. Part of the problem with council tax was brought in very, very quickly because they had to replace the absolutely hated poll tax. All council tax is set on what the value of your home would have been in 1992.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which is insane because if you live... So where I live, in East London, the value of a very nice big house in that borough in 1992 would have been quite low because it wasn't a popular area. Now, it's massively gentrified. The values of those houses have gone up and up and up and up and up, but the council tax intake has not. So, actually, we've got an awful lot of properties that are valued very highly, but are not actually... the amount of council tax paid is quite low because they are still in the band that they were put in 1992.
Oh, I've got to go home and open that envelope that came through the door last week. It said from re-council tax. It's going to be something that says, your money's going up, the money's going up.
Yeah,
but, of course, nobody's going to change this because everyone remembers what happened with the poll tax.
Yeah, oh, gosh, yeah.
Well, yeah. No, it does get very expensive. We haven't got time.
No, we haven't got time. This is brilliant, but we'll do it next time.
Yes, Mrs. Nobody will do that, and then we'll do that in the next one. It's
Very well-known Labour
story.
politician. Mrs. Nobody.
Yes, there you go. I was just thinking. Oh, here we go. Just Cyril on the shirt. We should keep the original Red Cross design as the basic shape and colour, but add 3 lines in the corner.
Good idea.
Nice idea. All right, here's your weather.